Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to be discussing how Sarwa is enforcing a no negotiation pay policy for its new hires. Secondly, the Trump Tower in Dubai has launch is sparking investor frenzy with promises of 30% resale gains. And thirdly, Dubai Holding upsizes its Dubai residential IPO. And finally, Syria is to print new currencies in the UAE and Germany, ending its Russian partnership. Actually, this is the last topic. So OpenAI and Oracle are going to help build the UAE's massive AI data center announced during Donald Trump's Gulf tour in the Middle East.
Very first story, very interesting. So Sarwa has enforced a no negotiation pay policy to ensure fair salaries for new hires. It's Abu Dhabi-based wealth tech startups. Basically, I also use it. It's for buying stocks, cryptocurrencies, whatever you can buy online. And it has introduced a no-negotiation salary policy for all new hires, aiming to foster pay transparency and fairness across its growing team. The announcement was made by co-founder and CEO Mark Chawan in a recent LinkedIn post.
So Chawan explained that the policy is designed to avoid inflated offers, setting unrealistic expectations, and to prevent newcomers from out-earning long-term high performers. Now, the goal, he said, is to keep compensation consistent and competitive, not based on negotiation skills.
And to support this, Sarwa benchmarks salary using anonymized data from leading regional firms such as Lean Technologies, Washman, and Bezat. It aligns with top quartile MENA compensation standards and also uses Index Ventures option plan for equity offers, ensuring transparency and equity.
Founded in 2017 by Lebanese entrepreneur Mark Chawan, Nadine Mizher, and Jad Saigh, Sarwa is a fintech platform offering robo-advisory services, commission-free stock and ETF trading, crypto investments, as Majid said, and high-yield savings, now all accessible through its app.
And the platform has achieved strong traction since launch. By 2022, Sarwa had over 100,000 users, one of them is me, and saw a 2.5x growth in just 3 months in 2023, driven by demands for its high-yield cash account.
With over $100 million for its user gains reported as of April 2025, Sarwa is positioning itself as a regional fintech leader backed by investors like Mubadala, 500 Global, and Kipco. The company has raised over $25 million to date. Now, with this story, do you agree with this, Majid? Honestly, I think that this no negotiation policy for new hires is either working out really well for them or either working out really bad for them. But what do you think?
The good idea about Sarwa is all their team is work from home, so I would love that. But obviously some roles require your office presence, like us in this room. We have to sit here. We can't do the show from the home, obviously. But again, coming to salary policy, I think it's very good. Every person coming into the company should be brought in on a certain level, and they should be very clear that this is the salary that we pay on this level. It's like government systems in a lot of countries where you have grades and levels of government. For example, in Pakistan, there's the government grade system which goes up to level 23. So 23 is the president, the prime minister, and the bureaucracy, the heads of all the different government institutions. Then level 22, 21. Every level has a fixed salary. So if you're hired on level 17, level 13, level 11, you'll have a fixed salary, and all the people working on your level will have the same salary. So as you go in, you know your salary of the other people as well. So for example, if I go in at level 13 and someone has been there for 2 years, they would know that I was hired on the same salary. But since they've been in there for 3 years, most probably now they'll move on to the next category. So it's that system that he's talking about, that there should be levels, there should be grades, or there should be like specific systems where a new hire, if he has experience, for example, he has 3 years of experience, There should be certain variables that he should fit on, and he should be placed in some of the category. And people who've been there for 8 years at the same level, I think it's their fault that they're there for 8 years. They should be doing something
See,
new.
this is what I
Yeah.
mean. Oh my God, I need to read the comment section to you
Yeah.
guys. So basically, someone was like, this is basically communism. And someone responded to them saying, corporate advocates democracy when scaling business, but loves communism of policies and compensation, which is such a double standard.
Yeah.
I think with cases like salary Majid, it is so difficult to determine because you might have someone who is young, comes in, maybe is not as experienced as somebody
Yeah.
who's been in the company for a while, but they're really intelligent, they're really quick on their feet, and they're
Yeah.
good at the job. What do you do then? So it's that's why I think this is either working out really well or really badly. They're either underpaying or overpaying, I think.
Yeah, to find that sweet spot in salary is the most difficult thing any corporation has to do, be it the biggest ones, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, whoever, and be it a small startup.
Yeah.
We still call ourselves startup, very interestingly, after 10 years, but we still have that startup mentality. But what I've realized is it should depend on the experience. One, that should be like the merit case, like the merit notion that this is the experience. One. Second, obviously, your point is very important that if someone with 10 years of experience hasn't upskilled in 10 years and is stagnant at a position and they don't want to grow and they're very comfortable in their position, and a new kid comes in, has a lot of energy, experience, they love taking risk. They're an upskilled version of that old person. So paying them according to the salary standards, it should be, I think, again, you have to take 4-5 options, 4-5 notions, 4-5 variables in account, and then decide a salary. Having the grade system is good. I think it's good at government level. It's good at high corporate companies which have like 10,000 employees, because negotiating with everyone is impossible. Having 10,000 employees and renegotiating, it's a hassle. So it's easier at this level to have negotiable salaries. At our level, like 110 employees.
A benchmark is
Yeah.
really good. But wait, oh my God,
Yeah.
Majid, I have a really good question for you. What do you think about those companies that hire university students who still don't have their qualifications, but they're really good? They're
Yeah.
really good at their job. And so they decide, okay, because this person has not graduated, we'll never actually put them on a full-time contract. We'll keep using and abusing
Yeah.
and giving them low pay. Do you think that's fair?
It's unfair from both sides. I remember the first internship I did, I went to a guy the first internship was in content development and product development. So I went, my supervisor was a guy who had 20 years of experience. And I remember very clearly my second or third day, he didn't talk to me for the first 2 days. He was like, yeah, sit here, this is the computer, read this Excel file. I was like, okay. Third day, he came to me and he started talking to me. I think he got the time. And he gave me a very good suggestion. He came to me and he was like, what do you plan to do after this? It was like, what's your plan for the 5-year, 10-year problem? I was like, I don't think I'll be working. I'll finish my degree. He was like, very good. Always finish your qualification, because you don't know if someday you go to a big place, a better place, a bigger company, and they have it in their requirements that you should have a degree. And that's the case of the world. I still believe, to be honest, in the current times, I still believe a degree doesn't matter. But the problem with old companies, conventional companies, and even the bigger giants, they need a degree from your side.
Or they will use it to take advantage of you, really.
Yeah,
Like,
we
won't
to be
offer you
honest, in
fair
a big
pay.
company, you won't get hired without a degree or anything. Maybe on the base of experience, if you can survive in some industry without a degree for nearly 10 years, then you're doing great. And then on the basis of that experience, you may get a job in a big company, depending on whatever you did in those 10 years. Maybe you did something earth-shattering. That's a very rare case. The best case scenario, even with AI, even with all the learning now here, you don't need a degree, you don't need teachers. Your ChatGPT can be your teacher, Grok can be your teacher. The teacher's job, I always believed in this, that it's facilitating, not teaching. Because you know the language, I know the language, I can read a book. The teacher's job is to facilitate the process,
It's to
make it
organize it.
quicker.
Yeah.
To organize it, facilitate it. It's never teaching, at the university level at least. In school level, I understand ABCDs and then building from there. But at university level, it's basic facilitation. I'll help you understand this, 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 this. Degree is very important. I don't know where the world is going because the world is going crazy because of AI. But to be honest, right now, even now, you go to, even in UAE, I remember like at least 4 or 5 years ago, there was a rule. Because one of my friends, he came to souk.com and they asked for his inter certificate, like the 12th grade certificate. And he was like, why are you asking for that? I have an MBA. And at that time in UAE, the rule was that every degree level had a minimum criteria. So for an MBA, you had to pay him, I think, 18 to 20,000. And he was just joining here, and they didn't want to pay him. So they hired him on the basis of his 12th standard. So they could give him that salary bracket of like 6 to 8,000, but they were taking the work of an MBA from him. So that also happened in the UAE. But very nicely, very proactively, again, the government jumped in and they realized that this is being misused by a lot of people. So they removed that. So now in the UAE, if you want to have a tier 1 or tier 2 job, there's like certain levels of categories when you get the visa from the company. So going for category 1 and 2, you need a bachelor's degree at least. So without that, you can't get the work visa. So if you're hiring a manager in UAE on a managerial post, they need to have a degree. So it gets a lot complicated, but to be honest, in the next 5 years, I think degrees will be thrown out of the window. Experience, skills, these things will start to matter a lot more than just a piece of paper which has your name written on it and date and helps you throw the cap in the air and enjoy life.
I think, with degrees, Majid, even like employers are aware that a degree will not necessarily guarantee if someone is a great employee.
Yeah.
It won't guarantee it, but this piece of paper is so important for all of us to have, so you don't get taken advantage of, so that you can argue your rights, you can haggle. There are some people who are kind enough to see your worth and see how good you are and say, you know what, despite no degree here, we'll hire you. But not everyone is like that. Yeah, it is a very rare case. And for our second topic today, as you all know, Trump is always trumping across the Middle East. And investor interest right now in the Trump Tower Dubai is surging, with early sales seen as a strong indicator of market confidence. Now, the 80-story branded skyscraper on Sheikh Zayed Road is being pitched as a high-end, high-return investment. And according to estate agents, resale potential is estimated at up to 30%.
Yeah, so you buy it for $1 million and you can sell it for 1.3 million. That's what they're preaching right now. And one of the person who's preaching this is Springfield Properties CEO Farooq Sayyed. He talked to Gulf News and he said that all indicators point to healthy early absorption and a wider alignment with Dubai's growing appetite for premium branded residences. The project includes one of the world's highest outdoor pools and exclusive access to the Trump membership club, offering perks across Trump Towers globally.
While the Trump Tower in Abu Dhabi has yet to be unveiled, developers Dar Global are charging ahead with Dubai and Jeddah projects gaining global attention during President Trump's recent Gulf visit, which industry insiders say acted as a mega spotlight for both towers.
And located at the entrance of downtown Dubai, Trump Tower's starting price begins at 3.8 million dirhams for 2 bedrooms and 6.3 million dirhams for 3 bedrooms. Prime units climb as high as 8.7 million dirhams, reflecting top-tier layouts and views in Dubai's ultra-prime property segment.
Downtown Dubai continues to post record-breaking deals, with the Lana Residences penthouse recently selling for 139 million dirhams. Now, these numbers affirm the area's appeal for ultra-high net worth individuals seeking both lifestyle and capital appreciation.
Meanwhile, Sheikh Zayed Road is booming with projects like Shobha Central and Burj Azizi. They're supposed to be the second or third highest after Burj Khalifa. Analysts say Dubai Marina, JLT and surrounding corridors remain resilient, posting rental yields between 7 to 10%. As for Trump Tower Dubai, completion is expected by 2031.
Indeed. I think with the Trump Tower, Dubai, we've been hearing about it for the longest time
Yeah.
ever. What's really interesting about it is, guys, like we've known this news for a while now. They
Yeah.
announced it last year, and somehow through some great PR work, by the way, it seems like a completely new announcement that Trump Tower is coming to Dubai. But as I said, this is really trumping across the region.
The funny
He's
thing
going
was,
everywhere.
everyone was expecting maybe there was a like very small chance that he will come, and he came to Abu Dhabi, stayed in Abu Dhabi, left from Abu Dhabi. Everyone was like, maybe he will announce something there, but he didn't. So right now it's in Dubai. Most probably in the future, once they see the demand for Dubai Trump Tower, they will most probably expand here and there. And I think with the wind coming to Ras Al Khaimah, anything is possible right now in that region as well, the Northern Emirates as well. Those have become, every day you see some property company, some consultant group talking about Ras Al Khaimah property prices, the Sharjah, even Ajman, like 20-30% rise in property prices and rental yields has come out. So it's really interesting how the Northern Emirates are also contributing. And the Southern Emirate, Abu Dhabi, it has Disneyland now. So I think Dubai is really at the brink, like, oh, what's happening? Why do they have everything that we don't? They have this fair coming, they have Disneyland coming. So I think Trump will most probably someday maybe come and be like, Trump Tower Abu Dhabi, I want that. Talking about property, very interesting news, a little complicated, so we'll simplify it for you. Dubai Holding has announced an increase in the size of the initial public offering, the IPO, of Dubai Residential REIT from 1.625 billion to 1.95 billion units, representing 15% of the REIT's issued capital, up from 12.5%. This decision follows strong interest and oversubscription across both institutional and retail tranches.
Now, the institutional offering, or second tranche, has been increased to 1.787 billion units, while the UAE retail offering, or first tranche, remains unchanged at 162.5 million units. Now, the price range is maintained between 1.07 dirhams and 1.10 dirhams per unit, valuing the total offering between 2.087 billion and 2.145 billion, or up to dirhams, or up to $584 million.
The final offer price will be set through a book building process and announced on May 21, with trading of units expected to begin on the Dubai Financial Market (DFM) around May 28. Upon listing, Dubai Holding will retain an 85% stake through its subsidiary DHAM Dham Investments.
Each retail subscriber will be guaranteed a minimum allocation of 2,000 units. Subject to availability, the REIT plans to pay semi-annual dividends starting September 2025, with a yield ranging from 7.7% to 7.9% based on the offer price range.
Xcube LLC has been appointed as price stabilization manager, and several leading institutions, including Citigroup, Emirates NBD, and Morgan Stanley, are acting as joint global coordinators and book runners.
The offering closes on May 20th, and investors able to subscribe through multiple receiving banks, including Emirates NBD, FAB, ADCB, and others. Now, the REIT is one of Dubai's largest owners and operators of income-generating residential real estate and is fully Sharia compliant.
Yeah. The funny thing about REIT, the REIT, is that it's a residential real estate investment trust. Everyone, to be honest, is confused that why aren't we getting shares of Dubai Holding, the company, or why aren't we getting the shares of the residential part of that. REIT is usually developed in the world when you have a residential or commercial building projects, and you get shares in that. So whatever earnings those buildings make eventually come as dividends. So it's a very nice, to be honest, I think in my last 2-3 years I've seen, it's one of the only REITs that I've seen in Dubai specifically, and in the region also. The investment is very similar to kind of like investment in the share things that are very common nowadays. Pripco is doing it, I think. It's Amira Sajwani startup. So
really?
You don't,
Can you say its name again?
Pripco, P-R-Y-Pico. Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
the thing
really
is
cool.
that you don't need to buy the whole apartment. you can buy a part in it. So 1 square foot, 2 square foot, depending on however much you're ready to spend. You can start with $1,000. This is what I'm telling you about the an apartment broken into pieces and then sold to you, and everyone owns something, and whatever yield, like sales yield or rental yields you get some part of it. This is also something like that, but this is on the stock market side. It's not a startup, it's not an app-based thing. It's a share thing. It's a stock market thing. So very simply, I just saw the number. I didn't see this number. I missed it. That at least 2,000 units. Let's take a very simple example. 2,000 units will be given to you as a retail investor. Retail investor is you and me. Institutional investors are companies, giants who buy millions of shares or hundreds of thousands of shares. So this extra 2.5% is marked for institutional investors. You and me can't buy it. But the retail tranche, the people who went in as retail investors, you and me, simple daily people, they can get a minimum of 2,000. So if the price range is 1.5, for nearly 2,500 dirhams, you'll get a small tranche of 2,000 shares. Now, every year, twice, you'll get a dividend on it. And the price range will determine the dividend. It's saying 7%. So if you buy the minimum 2,000, so for example, you've spent 2,500 on buying the 2,000 shares, you'll get a 7%. How much is 7%? 1% is 7, nearly 140 dirhams. But imagine the people who are investing in hundreds of thousands. They'll get a 7% good number. So it's a very good long-term investment. You just invest the money, and every year, twice, you'll get some dividend over it.
Yes, it
But
is.
very good for retail one as well.
And moving to our next topic,
Yeah.
Syria is shifting its currency printing operations away from Russia. This is big news, with plans to begin producing a redesigned Syrian pound in the United Arab Emirates and Germany. So according to multiple sources, the move reflects Damascus' growing ties with the Gulf and Western nations and follows the European Union's easing of sanctions on Syria earlier this year.
I love how Worth calls it Damascus and not Damascus, and I love that we should stick with the original names, the Arabic versions, right?
We should.
Yeah. In a symbolic break from the past, the redesigned notes will reportedly move the image of Bashar al-Assad. Obviously, that had to be done. The country's new leadership is working swiftly to rebuild an economy battered by 13 years of war and recent currency shortages.
Yeah, by removing his face, they're definitely removing the bad juju. Now, talks are now at an advanced stage with the UAE-based firm Amulat, which was recently visited by Syria's central bank governor and finance minister. Meanwhile, two German firms, the state-backed
Druckery.
Bundesdruckery
Very
and
difficult
the
names.
private Gizek Divrient have also shown interest, though no final agreement has been announced.
Very difficult names. The shift comes just days after Damascus signed an 800 million preliminary deal with the UAE's DP World to develop Tartus, a port, Syria's first major foreign investment deal since the US announced it would lift sanctions.
Despite the changes, Syria continues to receive cash, fuel, and wheat from Russia, so Moscow maintains strategic military bases on the Syrian coast, though European officials are growing uneasy with Russia's lingering influence amid the ongoing war in Ukraine.
And the Syrian pound is currently trading at 10,000 Syrian pounds to $1 on the black market, and a recovery from 15,000 before Assad fled to Russia last December. Yet, currency shortages persist, with banks turning away customers and authorities accused of limiting supply to manage exchange rates.
The reason why this is such great news, I feel, is because for the longest time ever, Syria has been relying on Russia to print cash, especially during Assad's regime. And I think the fact that they're shifting away and they're now relying on the UAE, especially on Germany, I think that that really does signify that there is a big change that is going on here.
Just the announcement of removing sanctions has opened the floodgates for Syria, to be honest. I was reading yesterday, I think, on Reuters. They had a very nice headline. Syria, for the first time in 13 or 14 years, is debt-free because Saudi and Qatar paid the 15 million. I was like, Nice. That's the news that you want to come out of these battle engaged and all these areas
Yeah.
like Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, even to be honest, all these areas. We need to see more positive headlines, even by
Yeah.
Western media, because they love to. They're like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong. But finally, I saw one headline and I was like, okay, hope is there. The
There
recovery
is.
process is there.
And I also saw something that reportedly Syrian banks have received their SWIFT codes.
Yeah. So, see, any bank that opens has a SWIFT code. The thing is, they were shut down. So they'll be reactivated finally, which helps in transferring money from Syria to other countries and from other countries to Syria. So very nice recovery. To be honest, we should give credit and we should thank Donald Trump that, and also we should thank Saudi Arabia because the
yeah,
600
not
billion.
Donald Trump.
To be honest, he said yes to
Of
it.
course,
So
but did you hear
10%
the
credit,
speech,
but
Majid?
yeah.
The things
Yeah.
that I would do for you, Salman.
So that's the
So-
thing he did for Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. He lifted the sanctions on Syria. The funny thing is, like 1 month ago, when Europe lifted some of the sanctions, we did talk about it. And the point was that Europe is trying to win Syria's favor. And they're lifting some sanctions. They didn't lift the sanctions on military equipment. So you can't still export military equipment, planes, wars, guns, anything from Europe to Syria, but everything else they have started easing the sanctions. Germany led the financing; they gave $200 million nearly. A lot of countries, France, Macron met with Ahmed al-Shara. So to be honest, right now Syria is like a gold mine, and this guy Ahmed al-Shara sits on it. And everyone now, since they've seen that people have accepted
We'll see
him,
if he sits on it forever.
yeah, the problem is like now everyone is hawking in. They want their share out of all the things that are there, the oil, the gas, everything. To be honest, real estate even, because if Syria stabilizes, it's such a beautiful country. All the Middle Eastern countries have this cultural and historical sites which can be easily turned into like
And you know what it
gold
also
mines
is
of tourism.
with Syria, Majid, is that you have the Gulf, and right
Yeah.
above the Gulf, you go there, you have
Yeah.
Syria, and then what's right beside Syria? It's Iraq,
Yeah.
it's Iran. If anything, these Gulf nations, all of these nations, know they need to stand with Syria because Syria is actually the border that is
Yeah.
standing between Iraq and Iran.
Yeah.
Between them and the Gulf.
Yeah.
So so having good ties with Syria.
It's like an entry to that
extremely-
part of the
yeah,
world, right?
It's extremely
Yeah.
important. I feel even in like protection sense, it's
Yeah.
important to have good ties with Syria.
Yeah.
Their location, the placement, it really is perfect. And
Last story, I think. Let's do it quickly because it's a small story, but we have a lot of details. So UAE, we all know Trump on his last leg was in UAE. So OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, and everyone knows Sam Altman, is planning to help develop one of the world's largest data center campuses. That's the most important part in this story, in the UAE. And the facility will be based in Abu Dhabi and it could eventually span 10 square miles and deliver 5 gigawatts of power, equivalent to 5 nuclear reactors. Just before word tells her part, I think we did this story. We discussed it, that
We did.
NVIDIA.
Yes, we
This story is mainly that OpenAI will be the biggest like tenant there. So the factory thing we announced, but OpenAI is helping by becoming the first and the biggest tenant there.
that
So
is
that's
really
interesting,
interesting.
right?
And
Yeah.
also, by the way, it's being led by G42, the famous Abu Dhabi AI firm that's chaired by His Highness Sheikh
Yeah.
Tahnoon. And sources say OpenAI, as Majid said, is expected to be the main tenant.
Yeah.
Apparently, Oracle is also involved.
Yeah. And the mega campus is part of OpenAI's Stargate initiative. So it's so complicated to understand these people because they said Stargate project is going to be in the US in multiple states, the $500 billion project, because as soon as I remember.
Apparently, Sam Altman is struggling to get funding, by the way, for it.
So as soon as Trump came, I remember it was like the third or fourth day, he was standing on a podium with 3 giants, Masayoshi Son, Oracle's, what's his name? Larry Fink is coming to my mind, but Oracle's head, and then Sam Altman. All 3 were standing there. Elon Musk wasn't there, funnily. And then he announced that there's a $500 billion Stargate project, which will eventually work over 4 years. The money will
Which
come through.
MGX in Abu Dhabi is backing.
Yeah, they're the investment partner, to be honest, and they have the money. Actually, they're giving the money to them. But so the idea was Target will be in US in different states. Now they're saying that Abu Dhabi one will also be a part of the Target project. So this is how quickly they changed their things. That
How quickly
it's
money
going to be
changes
US
people.
jobs. Randomly shifted, made the Abu Dhabi thing part of it as well. So yeah.
I mean, they have to match it because it's like, if you notice, honestly, with all of these like Western companies, every single time they're losing money in their region, they come here. They come here and they have to come here. And
but good for UAE, I think.
Yeah.
That's the good part, that we will have the world's largest data center.
And just to add on to the story, actually, so basically, during Donald Trump's visit, and I think we really underestimated this, every single year, the UAE is allegedly going to receive 500,000 NVIDIA chips.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you guys actually know for how long the UAE has been fighting for this, to receive access to those NVIDIA chips that could possibly change the entire AI world in the Middle East, in the UAE, they've been fighting for this for a while. All those visits to Washington that the officials have taken, all those projects with Microsoft, G42, they were all a step towards finally easing the sanctions on the chips and accessing them. So it's great to see that success. And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show.
Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description. This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 1.6 million monthly listeners. I am not getting an update. I will find an update today on how many million monthly listeners we have. The producer is laughing in the background. Thank you so much. If you're one of them and if you're making this possible for us, we appreciate you. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.